Hi there, I'm Ken Lammers. Welcome to Minor League Matters, and today we're going to try going through and not try. Today we're going to go through and talk about where everything's standing in the independent leagues. So, let's get cracking at that. Um, I'm going to look around a little bit and start out with the Frontier League. And the Frontier League, which it's Memorial Day, the 28th of May 2018, and the Frontier League apparently didn't have any games today, which is just shocking. You know, if you're a baseball league, there are 2 days you should have games on. One's Memorial Day, the other's the 4th of July. These are days you can get a lot of business, patriotism and all that. And apparently the Frontier League just decided to leave that money laying on the ground. Uh, in the Frontier League East, your Lake Erie Crushers, one of my favorite teams, are up. They're up by one game over the Washington Wild Things. And then it drops down to where you've got the Windy City Thunderbolts. Traverse City Beach Bums are both a couple games back. And the bottom, the Joliet Slammers, and the Schaumburg Boomers, who won it all last year, so they're having a rough time. They've only won a third of their games so far. Let's see. In the West Division, the River City Rascals are on top. Evansville Otters, another one of my favorite teams, is in second, tied with Florence Freedom, who are probably the team I get to the most in independent baseball because, they're right outside of Cincinnati, and that's where some of my family lives, so I get there more than I do anywhere else. Although I do try to get to Evansville at least once a year. And then behind them, actually, there's a three-way tie for second place. Evansville, Florence, and Southern Illinois Miners are all there tied. The Gateway Grizzlies are inverted. They're 7-8, and the normal Corn Belters are 6-9. It's still early times in the league, so all this could change. But of course, we know in the end it's going to be the Lake Erie Crushers playing the Evansville Otters for the championship because that's who I want. But other people might have a say in that. Let's see. Going to the Pecos League. Well, doggone it, I don't know the names of all these teams. But the Roswell Invaders are leading the Southern Division, right? And the Mountain Division has got... That is the weirdest logo I've ever seen. It looks like a T. Oh, the Trinidad... what is Trinidad? Trinidad Triggers. Okay, that's a trigger. They've got like a trigger around a baseball. I thought it looks like a golf tee around a baseball. But Trinidad Triggers are leading the Mountain Division. And out in the Pacific Division, we have the... I think they're Yardbirds. What name did they take up? You got the High Desert Yardbirds, which took over an A+ stadium or advanced A stadium when it was abandoned by affiliated baseball. Pecos League is interesting. It's scratched along for a while now. It started out kind of like Frontier League. It's scratched along. Some teams really trying hard to get there. Really not in markets where they could, and not with stadiums that they could. But now they tripped into those two stadiums in California, where they when affiliated baseball abandoned two communities in California, Advanced A, and so they tripped into those teams. They've got 4 teams now in California, 4 teams in the Mountain, and 4 teams in the Southern, and it looks like they may be shaking it out to where they're going to do the same shakeout that the Frontier League did, and leave some of the lower level markets behind, which doesn't mean the people there don't deserve to watch some baseball. It just means they can't really support them. CanAm, okay. Um, this is the Canadian American Baseball League. 3 teams in Canada, 3 teams somewhere in New York, I think it is. And I don't speak Canadian, so I'm going to basically tell you these things in English. And number 1 in the CanAm League is the Three River Eagles. They are 6-3. The Quebec Capitals are 6-4. So that's kind of there. And so are the Sussex County Miners, 6-4. So they're both half a game back technically, but that's because for some reason the Three Rivers Eagles haven't played all the games everybody else has. The Ottawa Champions are 4-5. They're back in the fourth place, and then we're at Rockland, New Jersey, and 2 of the teams which they've technically got on board, the Dominican Republic team and the Salinas Stockade, I don't think are starting to play until later in the year, which I'm really not sure why I understand. I don't really understand that, except they want enough teams to claim they've got 4 on each side, I guess. So the Dominican Republic team's kind of a throw-together team. I don't know why that's still there, other than the fact that they can't get some more teams. Maybe they ought to look at this, whoever's got this United Shore thing, and see if they can get a real team there, rather than 4 teams playing in the same stadium. Anyway, and the Salinas Stockade have bounced from league to league. Maybe they'll find a home here in CanAm. I'm doubtful. They just don't fit. We'll see. We'll see. Early days there again too. We'll see how that all shakes out. Okay, now we get to some of our more serious leagues. CanAm's got serious quality, but the Atlantic League, it has in its Freedom Division the Lancaster Barnstormers are out front, followed by the Texas team, the Sugarland Skeeters. I don't know how that's in the Atlantic League, and then York Revolution and Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Basically, Lancaster and Sugarland Skeeters have won the same amount of games. They both won 18. The only reason that Lancaster's up 1 game is because Sugarland has played 2 more of them and lost 2 more. Those 2 have both been losses. In the Liberty Division, we have the Somerset Patriots on top, and they've got a solid lead, 4 games lead over the Long Island Ducks. And then there's a pretty solid drop-off to the New Britain Bees, and then the Road Warriors. Now, the Road Warriors, unfortunately, they're not going to turn out well. That's a team that was put together that apparently the Atlantic League throws in every once in a while when they haven't got 8 teams, so they throw it in, and they're constantly on the road. They don't have a home, and it's kind of rough. I think they're actually supposed to be Pennsylvania Road Warriors, but they don't have a home. Atlantic League has tried to, expand more and get other teams. I know at one time they had approved a team in Virginia, but apparently it never got off the ground. And so, they keep trying to grow a little bit, but they don't seem to get there. More power to them. I hope they do. They supposedly have really good ball. American Association. This is the granddaddy, the biggest of them all. Named after I don't know, it's actually named after the old American Association, but in homage, we'll say, to the old one. And they have the most, on top of their North Division is the most well-known independent baseball team, or the most well-attended, or however you want to put it, St. Paul Saints. And that's one of my bucket list teams. I really do want to go see St. Paul someday. If I can ever, get there. That's a heck of a drive or a heck of a lot of money to get a plane flight, then a hotel room, and then a rental car. But someday. Now, they're they're tied with the Winnipeg Goldeyes. And I hope Winnipeg gets as much support for the Goldeyes as they do for their hockey team, because it was really amazing watching their support their hockey team had. Yeah, they filled the stadium and everybody was in there wearing white in the arena. But the really amazing part was when they panned outside and there were thousands of people standing outside. We're not talking like New York City here, folks. This is not that big of a community, and I think every one of them was there. Anyway, so St. Paul Saints and Winnipeg Goldeyes are tied at the top. Then we drop to Fargo. Fargo Moorhead Redhawks are, in number 3, but they're only one game back. Gary South Shore Railcats are 2 games back. Sioux Fall Canaries are 3, and Chicago Dogs, which are the brand new team, are 5. And they've only won 1 game out of their 9. So, not terribly unexpected out of a brand new team, although you would hope the Chicago Dogs would be able to put something together so that they can get a fan base and really kind of keep going. They've put a lot of work into it. It's obvious. If you followed their Twitter or anything like that and seen the logos they've set up and everything, they've really tried. And I hope they get going. Get some wheels. Now, South Division has a clear leader. That's Sioux City Explorers. And then Kansas City T-Bones are a couple games back. Claiborne Railroaders, a game back from that. Wichita Wingnuts are tied. Well, actually, you got a 3-way tie at 3rd. You've got the Claiborne Railroaders, Wichita Wingnuts, and the Lincoln Salt Dogs are all tied at 3rd. And at the very bottom, we have the Texas Air Hogs, who have won 1 game out of their 9. They're not brand new, so I don't know that they've got much of an excuse. American Association is probably the top of the independent leagues, and I do suggest you go watch them if you can. The only one I've been able to get to is the Gary South Shore Railcats, and it was a good experience. It really was. It was kind of like watching somewhere between AA and AAA, although a little smaller stadium than you would see in AAA, and it was a fun experience. So I suggest, if you're anywhere near an American Association team, go watch them. They're fun. And then we get to the Pacific Association, which hasn't started yet. I think it starts at the end of this week, Thursday or Friday. So they're not up. Nothing really to report there. And the United Shore League, where we have 4 teams playing in the same stadium, well, that's got to do real wear and tear. Don't have their standings up. Nowhere I can find their standings. So I think they're just playing through the season. I don't know if I'll keep reporting on them all the time. I really am not convinced that this is worthy of being called a league. Not to say it's not entertaining if you go watch a game, but I'm not sure it's worthy of being called a league. And that's pretty much it for this week in the independent leagues. Next week I'll come back with a little bit more. I'm trying this live, and I suspect that with the feed I've got here that it's not doing so hot. I will probably upload a better version because I'm saving on the computer as well. If you like what you see here, hit like. If you like what you see generally around here, hit subscribe. Comments down below. I promise I'll read them. I cannot promise I'll reply to every single one of them because, I've got that pesky day job and they kind of expect me to do my job. I don't know why, and beyond that, I've just got that one piece of advice I always give. Go watch some minor league sports. I'll see y'all later.